No official request has been made, but as my colleague Richard Roth just said, this may prove to be a very interesting test of whether the country of Myanmar is willing to accept international aid wherever it comes from. Of course, the U.S. military is the largest humanitarian relief organization in the world. They can get more aid anywhere it needs to be faster than anybody else. They are watching this situation unfold in Myanmar, and they know that they must wait, of course, for a request from that government to come to Washington before the U.S. military can do anything. But behind the scenes, we can tell you several U.S. military officials have confirmed that some Navy ships out in the Pacific Fleet off the east coast of Thailand right now, especially the USS Essex, which has a number of helicopters on board, they are looking at those ships to see about the possibility of getting them moving from the east coast of Thailand, where they're doing an exercise, over to Myanmar. It's going to take several days of sailing time once they get underway, but what the Navy likes to do is get things moving and hope that the request comes. In fact, the word around here, officials say, is they are, quote, posturing to get ready. That's a pretty good signal that they would like to get moving and they would like to offer assistance. One of the things the U.S. military can do is bring in some very quick water purification capability, shelters, tents, food supplies. But as everyone is saying, it's that need for clean water in a large volume that is most urgent, and that's something that the military could help with if the request comes and if the aid is accepted. Rosemary?
Indeed, and Barbara, what is the procedure in place? What's the usual mechanism that a country wanting aid needs to go through to actually set in motion that help?
Well, you know, that's very interesting because it is, as you say, a fairly set procedure. We're talking about diplomacy here. Of course, the U.S. military doesn't go anywhere. It's not asked or not. The request hasn't been made. What happens is the country in need of the assistance will make the request to the Bush administration through the U.S. Embassy in that country. It goes to the State Department, it comes to Washington, and the administration figures out as quick as it can where the best possibility is for that aid to come from. And more often than not, it is the U.S. military that's in the closest area to be able to render quick aid. We've seen it with the tsunami out in the Pacific. We saw it with the earthquake in Pakistan, and just several months ago also with a cyclone in Bangladesh. It's a fact of life. The U.S. Navy's out there, and they can often be there as quick as anybody else can. Now that the commercial airport, however, is open in Myanmar, again, the international airport, that might be another quick route for aid, air transport. The U.S. military, but also, we should say, military forces out in the Asia region, forces who are already there from the countries nearby, could generate a large number of aircraft runs into that country and bring in that very kind of equipment and assistance.